Welcome to Dadtrepreneur, the podcast tailor-made for the modern man balancing personal development, business, and family. This is Dadtrepreneur.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Dadtrepreneur podcast, where we talk about all things men, even the stuff men do not want to talk about. My name is Billy G.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jared.
And today's topic is going to be focused on expectations. So this is something that we see a lot, not only in, the business world, relationships, fitness, just life in general, where maybe we're expecting a bit too much too fast. Maybe we're expecting too much of somebody or something. And, those expectations can kind of lead us down a dark path and can kind of lead us towards disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, especially in business, I'd say, startups expect things to work out like relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. And, it's what we keep discussing. It's a lot of misguidance and a lot of poor information. And so you got, especially I feel like younger crowds, they try to start something. They see someone that they look up to on TikTok or Instagram or whatever the case may be, and they expect their business to go just exactly as they say it's going to go. And it very rarely happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, and I see this in fitness like all the time. I get people who come to me and they're like, well, I want to look like this, or I want this weight, or I want this kind of goal. And they don't understand that like that's not going to happen in like 40 days. Mm-hmm. You're talking like 12 months. Yeah. And it's just having the reality kind of hits them in the face, and they're like, oh, well, maybe I don't even want to do it now.
Yeah.
And like that discouragement that comes because they walked into that situation with an expectation. Okay, well, in this time frame, this is going to get done. And I'll do everything that it takes to get it done in this time frame. But when they get told the reality, it's like, oh, well, that changes everything.
Yeah.
But why?
Look, I'll speak from experience. I've yo-yo dieted for forever now.
No.
So I'm pretty experienced. I'm pretty well-versed when it comes to this. I will say that, look, it's human nature for the most part to want things quick, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough. Dieting is tough. That's why, the vast majority are not shredded.
Yeah.
For that exact reason. We briefly said this before. It's like if it were easy, everyone would do it. That's very accurate when it comes to diet, especially for me.
Yeah.
It's so to maintain that for 12 months, it's just in my head I'm saying it, I'm like, there's no way. I'm good.
But why do you think that we even walk into situations like this with those expectations? Is it something that maybe like we've been like programmed to believe?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like passed down from generations. I don't know. Did people back in like the 1800s have an expectation when they popped corn in the ground that it would be done at a certain time, or like, I don't know.
That I can't speak for.
Yeah.
But look, you go back 10 years, right? And just, again, I'll focus on myself. 10 years ago, I could get shredded in about 30 days. You've seen it. I've done it.
Yeah.
The last time, again, was for my wedding, but like 30, 40 days, I could get relatively lean. Not anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that it's largely due to that, too. It's like you used to be able to do it, and now you can't.
Right. Maybe you're going off of like previous experiences in your life.
Yeah.
And that, you don't realize that the circumstances of your life have changed since the last time you did whatever that was.
Absolutely.
And that maybe you don't have the same resources, maybe you don't have the same time.
Yep.
And like, yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
Maybe
getting old, man.
Yeah, you're pulling from previous experiences.
100%, because that's all you have to compare it to.
That's true. Yeah,
right?
It's very true. And I guess it's super disappointing if you like walk into a situation where you have like this idea of how you think it should go.
Yeah.
And then, there's 10 roadblocks ahead of you.
Yeah.
And
it's defeating.
The finish line is way further away than it used to be.
Exactly.
I think we see that a lot too in like relationships, like getting into new relationships, even friendships, I don't just mean romantically, where like maybe you're comparing to the previous person you were with or your other friends, like, well, I expect you to be this way. And then when they're not, it's like, oh.
That's a big mistake that a lot of people make, is they expect exactly what you just said, other people to behave how they would behave.
Yes.
Biggest mistake that you can make. And it causes a lot of issues, like you just said, in all relationships, business, romantic. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that you could make.
Yeah.
You cannot expect that.
I'm super guilty of that.
Yeah.
I really am. Because like sometimes I walk around on this rock, you know, and I think that like people should act like me.
Yeah.
And that's like super egotistical of me
Very,
to think that way. You know what I mean? And like, I don't even realize I'm doing it until it causes a conflict.
Yeah.
You know, and then when a conflict comes up and I'm like, well, why aren't you doing it like this?
Why aren't you handling it this way?
Yeah. And like, you know, you got to come to that realization that like they're their own person,
Yeah.
man. You know what I mean? Like they're going to make decisions and do things that I may not agree with. You know, is it going to change my perception of them? That comes down to me. You know, am I really going to allow something like that to stand in between the relationship, friendship or romantic? You know, and it can be difficult to like wrap your head around that.
Yeah. And it's hard to not take it personal.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
But it's not a fair assumption to make. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's going to react in their own way. So you expecting that, you're just setting yourself up to get upset.
Yeah. And that's really the problem with expectations is we set this idea of a person, place, thing, situation, and then when it doesn't meet like my standard, I'm upset.
Yep.
You know, and like it's a problem enough for me to where like I don't really know exactly how to fix it. Like I know how to like fix it later, but I don't know how to stop doing it.
Again, I think it's a tough thing to turn off.
Mm-hmm.
Human nature, you want things done quickly, and then again, you're gonna want it done how you want it done.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You know, so if it's not done to the exact T of how you want it done, then like you said, you're gonna get upset, and then but I guess that's why it's called an expectation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think expectations are supposed to be met to the exact T that you expected.
Yeah. I want to talk about some of like your like failures in your businesses. I'm sure when you walked into those businesses, you were expecting a certain result.
Yeah.
You know, and like of course, I mean we all do, right? Like I think we walk into every situation with an idea of how we'd like it to be.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe talk a little bit about like how you went into those things and then how you hit roadblocks and ultimate failure with some of those things.
Yeah.
And maybe how that changed your mindset going into something else.
The first real failure would be resistance, which was and just to reiterate, me and my brother have been business partners on every single thing we do. So including that, it was called resistance. It was a strap that had like a connection on it that could allow you to add resistance to any workout. You've tried it, obviously.
Yeah. And this is when the band hype was really big.
Yeah.
in the
Resistance
gym.
bands were definitely up and coming.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things where we were already doing it. We would hold the handles in our hand and then grab a dumbbell and then start working out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was awesome. And then finally I was just like, okay, why can't you just create a strap, make it easier, this and that. So we did it. We made a prototype. My brother went to Home Depot and made like some crazy prototype that was only safe for us to use because it was like razor sharp. It could cut the resistance band. It would have been bad.
Oh man.
You know?
Yeah.
And then we started using it. It was going well. And then we created another prototype that was actually 3D printed. Not 3D printed, sorry. It was done in a engineering software that basically, it was like CAD work, they call it, I guess. And then that allowed you to take it a step further. And then we had it printed at like a metal facility. Mm-hmm. So fast forward a little bit more, everything's going well. And then we got in touch with someone called Lisbeth Lopez. She's still really big on Instagram and stuff like that. Millions of followers. She was big. And she liked the concept. She's like, yeah, send me 10 sets. And we didn't have 10 sets. We had ours that we used. We had like 2 of them. Yeah. So we rushed to try to fill that order and ended up getting clips done that were too weak. It was almost like a keychain material, and it's not strong enough to hold the resistance. Yeah. So we were broke. We didn't have the money, and that ultimately caused us to fail at that. You know, we didn't have the money to go back and try to fix the problem, which was the clip was too small and too weak. And that was really it. You know, that's, if you don't have the money and you don't have the means to go get a loan, we were young, you know, we didn't have the credit, we didn't have the debt to income ratio, any of that to be able to get a loan. And we didn't know about hard money loans at that time.
So something as simple as a clip, like tanked the whole idea. Yeah. I mean, that had to be horribly discouraging.
Yeah, it sucked. It sucks because it was exciting to land that
talk
send
to
me
that
10
person.
sets.
Yeah, of course. Like you got like the wheels in motion, and then all of a sudden it's like,
and you always have that, like, I wonder what would have happened in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Like if I fulfilled the order and she got to 10 sets, would she have liked them? Maybe she would have hated them.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have then failed then. I don't know. You know, so it's discouraging, but not as much as you might think. Like obviously we weren't defeated. It just that ended and we kept it moving and eventually would come up with another idea and that's it, you know?
Yeah. But I think, most people might not take that next step after that. They may take that defeat as, well, I'm a failure. Well, nothing I do is going to work. They start that like negative self-talk in their head, and maybe that stops them from ever trying to pursue something like that in the future.
I guarantee you that happens, but then in my opinion, you were never made, you were never cut for entrepreneurship in general. Like if you're that quick to be defeated, very rarely are you going to be able to find success.
Right.
Period. Because it takes, like you said, expectations. If your expectations are for it to be ultra successful in 6 months, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact math or the average, but I'm guessing 3 to 5 years is typically the average that you have to stay in business before you start turning a profit that's worth like even talking about.
Yeah. I mean, look, and we even have a really close friend who, started his own thing in a very like niche market.
Yep.
And, it's a great idea, truly a good idea. And like, we all know that it has the potential to do really well for him. But, in the first year or so, he was getting like really down because of it.
Big time.
Yeah.
And it's exactly that. He had expectations that he was just going to come out the gate
swinging. Yeah, yeah.
And he did, meaning he was giving all the right efforts and doing everything. I wouldn't say he did anything wrong.
No, he's putting the footwork in.
Correct.
But like that footwork doesn't pay off immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like paying money into something. Like you don't make money right away.
Yeah.
You got to like wait.
It's tough. It's a tough thing to do, especially when you have a family, right? He has a family that he has to support. So him being a good father, that's always in the back of his mind. It's like ultimately that's what he cares about most.
The pressure of all that.
Exactly. So, and it's not about caving. It's just about he was trying to be smart. And then look what happens. He backpedaled a little bit. He gets a part-time job. And now his business is doing better than it was.
Right.
It's just funny how that works.
Oh, definitely. And like, how long has it been now since he's opened it? Like,
not that long.
Yeah, a year and a half now.
Which is crazy to say. It probably has been over a year, right?
Yeah, it definitely has. I think we're like around like that year and a half territory. And like, he's constantly messaging us now, like showing checks, showing like, I got this other client. Like he's super proud to like show us like, hey, like this is actually starting to do something now.
Yeah.
And like, what if he would have given up?
Yeah.
He could have easily given up. It seemed like he was on the verge a couple times.
I think so.
Where he was like, man, did I make a huge mistake here? And like, I think it's normal to doubt yourself.
Always.
When it comes to certain things, especially when it comes to taking a leap of faith on a person or on money. And like, I don't think it's abnormal to sit back and go, am I making the right choice?
Yeah.
But I think the part where people get screwed up is they actually convince themselves that it isn't the right choice.
Correct. Correct. Believe you can and you're halfway there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a huge point to be made. As long as you have that belief and you keep that belief, ultimately, majority of the time you will be okay.
Yeah.
You let the self-doubt get in your head and you let the other people get in your head and you like you said, you believe it, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't think you could. I think it's very rare for you to be able to climb out of that hole once you dig it.
Right, exactly. I totally agree, man. I mean, Henry Ford said it, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
And like, even if something, like even if like your main idea or this person that you've invested in falls apart, because that does happen.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean that like you now don't have the skills to go make it work somewhere else.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you've built history with either this person or this situation or this business, and now you can take that experience and then bring it to something new. You can't just die and give up. You know what I mean? If you do, all that experience is wasted now.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's a tough thing to do, to be able to kind of turn your brain off to that side of things, the negative side of things. Again, I think it's human nature to have that negative self-talk always in the back of your head. I have my days where it's just like,
oh, I got them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. about everything.
You just feel like nothing's going right. That's this whole year. That's just 2023, right?
Yeah.
This year.
I'm about done.
Yeah. I'm ready.
I'm about done.
We can wrap this up. Yeah. So I just feel I feel like it's a good thing to have that balance of some negativity, because that kind of motivates you to almost prove yourself wrong or prove the people wrong.
Right.
That's always my logic is I want to prove that negative side of me wrong, or the haters, whatever you want to call them out there. It's just it's definitely a hard thing to do, but it's important that you are able to block that out for the most part, you know?
Definitely. And did you have any like, and I mean, I know I did, like, did you have any like expectations of yourself when you knew your son was coming?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I will say that it was much harder for me to create a bond with him initially. Mm-hmm. And I think it came down to a lot of things. He was in NICU for 10 days.
Yeah.
Horrible experience, right?
Yeah.
It's COVID. It's just me and my wife. And then boom, he didn't get enough oxygen. He was basically left in the canal too long, ingested blood. So it's like you're freaking out, you know? So you're already freaking out, and then you're freaking out more. You see a bunch of people surrounding him. You're trying to figure out what's going on. So I would say, my expectations were I was going to immediately bond with him.
Yep.
It was going to be perfect.
It's literally the same thing with me.
It was the opposite.
Yeah.
You know?
Same thing with me.
Like, and then you're questioning yourself. You're like,
am I doing this right?
Yeah. Like, am I like, what's going on? Like, why can't I like immediately have that bond? It was very confusing.
It was really confusing for me too. Like, and look, I knew going into it that kids initially bond with mom first.
Yeah.
It's okay, bro. I get it. Like, they were literally inside of them, you know? And then there's like breastfeeding. There's like a whole nature thing going on there. And I totally understood that. But I remember like things going on, and like I'd go to pick her up, she'd freak out. I'd go to like even look at her sometimes. Doesn't even want to look at me. And I'm like, am I like disgusting to you? You know? And I'd be like, give me a hug. No hugs. You know, and this was like for like 2 years, you know, where like I'm definitely not on the priority list. You know, I'm like fifth in line, it felt like, you know, both grandmas were before me. I had like, you know, friends before me. And then like, here I am just, you know, dad.
Yeah.
You know, only providing for your whole life. and like, you know, obviously now for me, that situation is completely different.
Yeah.
I'm everything to her now. In fact, I dropped her off at school today, and she freaked out, wanting to come with me. And like, you know, that's great and all. I love feeling
part
loved.
of you likes that, right?
Yeah, I love feeling loved.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, but you know, I definitely walked into this thing thinking like, oh, me and her are just gonna be best buds out the gate, and like it wasn't even close, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's another piece of it too where I thought that like maybe I was going to like know what to do easier when like situations
almost like
arose.
instinctual.
Yeah, and like I really didn't.
Yeah.
I really didn't. Like things would pop up and I'm like, I don't even know how to handle this right now. You know, there was one time she had, I think she was maybe 6 months, and she started like breathing irregularly. And you know, then instincts kick in. You know, I just swooped her up, brought her to the ER. You know, it was like that part was easy for me.
Yeah.
You know, like the protector in me.
Yeah.
But I think the nurturer in me is what needed to take time. It's not something I thought I was just going to easily walk into, and it wasn't. You know, like I've really had to like work on the nurturer part.
Yeah.
More than the protector part.
Well, that's tough as a dude, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We don't really instinctually have that in us, and it's not in our nature to be that way, you know?
No, and I struggle with it even now sometimes, where I'm like, you know, she'll cry about something. I'm like, just stop.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Yeah. Why are you crying right now? When I could maybe like slow down and be like, hey, you know, it's okay. Let me give you a hug, you know? And I do that. Don't get me wrong. I do that. But there are definitely times where I'm like, come on, pick yourself up. Let's go. You know what I mean? And like, that's something I'm still definitely very much working on.
Yeah. That's, again, I think that's a hard thing to do, but I will say that you definitely softened up as soon as you have kids.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because I'm way softer than I was, and than I've ever been.
Yeah.
And it's uncontrollable.
No.
You know? From the talks that I've had, I would say it's more common for dads not to feel the bond. Mm-hmm. I have quite a few friends that I've talked to about it because again, in the beginning, I was like, what's going on? And they all had like the same timeline, which it seemed to be like 3 to 6 months or so, where they really felt a genuine bond. And obviously it gets stronger and stronger over time, you know, but I still have my days, like you said, you know, where it's like, you just feel like everything's going wrong and they're not behaving, they're not listening. And then you feel, as soon as you kind of like snap on them, you feel bad immediately.
Oh, dude, I feel terrible.
Yeah. It's almost instant.
You know, like I got this thing now where like every kid, she doesn't want to go to sleep. Okay. I don't know why. Sleeping is amazing. I love eating and sleeping. And that's the two things she hates the most.
Yeah.
It
is confusing.
I don't get it. And, you know, and I have like a routine with her every night where I read her books, we sing songs. Like I try to make the nighttime routine really attractive.
Yeah.
So it's something she looks forward to. And she's been doing this thing lately where like it ain't enough.
Yeah.
When I want 3 books, I want another song. And it's like, hey man, you know, I got stuff to do too. You know, I got to go to sleep. You know, I'd like some me time. And like, you're like pushing it. You're like asking for more, you know, than what we're used to doing. And I've had to like start cracking down on her and being like, no, it's 2 books, not 3. No, it's 1 song. And now it's time to go to sleep. And then, you know, she pulls the whole, well, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, I'm hungry. My tummy hurts. My butt hurts. And she like starts pulling all these out. And I catch myself getting really frustrated. I'm like, stop lying.
Yeah.
Cut the crap and lay down. And like sometimes I obviously have to be a little louder than others for her to like register that I'm serious. And bro, as soon as I close the door, I'm like, I'm such an ass.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
I'm such an asshole.
That happened to me the other day. His favorite word is no. Luca's favorite.
That would drive me nuts.
Oh, and he's a punk, man.
Yeah.
And I can only get so mad because it comes from us. It stems from us. I'm stubborn. I test people.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm driving, and I didn't laugh at the time, but now I laugh. And I'm like, say no to me one more time, and you're going in timeout. And he just looks at me, and he's dead straight face. No. And you want to laugh, you know, you want to laugh.
You want to laugh, yeah.
But I got so irritated, and I'm like, you know, and I I got angry. I yelled way louder than I want to at a 3-year-old. He's a 3-year-old, you know.
Yeah, it's the same.
But it's hard for that to register when you're upset
in the moment. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, you're going to timeout, and we still had like a 15-minute drive. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
It's like awkward almost.
Yeah, now you're like quiet. They feel like shit. You feel like shit.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm in my head like, did I go a little too hard?
Yeah.
This, and that. But I don't think so. I think you need that sometimes, you know? Like, we had that way more than these kids have it. Let's be real. This whole gentle parenting thing.
Dude, I don't even know who my parents are anymore.
Yeah.
Like with her, and I've said this to them, I'm like, wait, what is this?
I'm sure you've seen the meme or whatever the hell you call it, and it's like a video, and it's the sound says like, show the real you or something like that, and then that's what the concept is. It's like the grandparents are not being real, like that. Oh, it's that plane lady, where she's like that motherfucker is not real.
Yeah.
It's that sound.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious.
It's like a video of the grandma playing with the kids.
Yeah.
And then it's that sound.
Like, what?
Yeah. It's like, that motherfucker is not real. But that's the truth. It was way different, you know? And I'm sure a lot of it is our parents kind of feel guilty almost.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make up for that.
Yeah.
When in my opinion, they don't have anything to feel guilty about.
No, man.
I was an ass.
I
deserve to get
huge ass.
You know?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I was like the worst.
Yeah. So you deserve to get what you got.
Yeah.
That's
totally.
my opinion of it.
I think too, at least for my side, is like Charlotte's a girl.
Yeah.
She's like this cute, innocent little girl. And like, I think maybe for my mom, it's like, well, you know, she had this like boy that she could kind of like slap around and be rough with. And now she has this dainty little flower. You know, and everybody views her as this dainty little flower. And like, I think they allow that image of her to like win them over, you know, and then she goes to bed whenever she wants, or she doesn't take a nap because she doesn't want to. Well, I don't really care if you don't want to, you know, I don't want to do a lot of things, dude. You have to. And, you know, that I think that can be part of the problem on my side.
100%.
You know, where she's just such a cute little girl that she just gets her way, and she knows it.
I would not do half the things I do with my nieces as I do with Luca. You know, like even my tonality and stuff like that. it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right to have that sort of tone where you're more irritated with females. I agree with you.
And I've had to be more harsh.
Yeah.
You know, especially since Samantha's passed. You know, like before, you know, when it was me and Samantha, like if I was done, if I was done with her, go to your mom.
Yeah.
You know, and if she was done with her, go to your dad. And like I don't have that.
Yep.
You know, so it's just me. So I have to be like
both
judge, jury, and executioner. You know what I mean? So I had to like pick when to be diplomatic. I have to pick when to be a hard ass. You know, I have to pick when it's like, hey, shut up and lay your head on the pillow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's difficult, man. I don't like doing it. I don't like having to juggle all those roles because like I don't know how she's viewing me. You know what I mean? Like I know she loves me, obviously, but I don't want her to be like scared of me or nothing.
Yeah.
But I also can't let her walk all over me.
Yep.
You know, because then she's a spoiled brat and she gets whatever she wants. And then on the other side, I'm thinking in my head, well, I don't want to be too hard either. Yeah. You know, it's like, man, I don't know what to do.
That is a tough one though, because Luca does that, and you know he's full of shit most times. He's like, Daddy scares me. Or it scared me.
Yeah.
When you get a little aggressive
of course,
with the tonality.
Yeah.
But if no matter what it feels, I hate it. I hate when he says that. I feel so bad because part of me is like, did I scare him? Nobody wants to scare the kids.
Yeah, but then like, you know, you also got to remember like a shadow in their room scares them.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that like, and I'm definitely guilty of this where I'll put adult thinking and emotions in a kid.
Yep.
And like, it's not that way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they're not thinking like I am. You know, the way they process emotions, the way they see fear or being scared is not the same as I am. You know what I mean?
That goes full circle to what we started with, which is like expectations and expecting them to behave how we do.
Yeah.
It's really the same thing.
Yeah, you're totally right. It really is the same
That's true. I never really thought about it in that light.
Yeah, no, it really is the same thing because, you know, at least I can, you know, sometimes expect my kid to act older than she really is.
Yeah.
Or like, of course, I've also fallen into the comparison thing where like I see someone else's kid and I'm like, man, they're so well behaved. What the hell's wrong with mine?
That could be tricky too, though. That could be tricky too because sometimes there's like 6-year-olds that are the same size as Luca.
Yeah.
Right.
Charlotte's the same way.
Charlotte's bigger too.
She's big. Yeah.
So it's that I feel like causes issues on the comparison side of things because you're like, yeah, this kid is so well behaved, but he's also twice their age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a couple, and at this age, a year's progression is huge,
massive. 6 months
big
is
time,
massive,
right? They're talking so much more. They're using like actual sentences. It's crazy. So to think about it in that light, it's like that's another year and a half, 2 years of progression that kid has had in their life, and that's why they're better behaved. They understand way better than our kids do, like what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge factor when you are comparing.
Yeah, definitely. And like, not to mention too, like, you know, everybody's different, man. You know, people have their own personalities and they got them from day one, you know, and so do kids, you know, and like, I have to remember that too sometimes that like Charlotte is who she is, you know, and like, I can't force my idea of who she should be on her either.
Yeah.
You know, and that can be really difficult because, especially because she's my kid, you know, like I want her to act and be a certain way because I think she'll have a better life if she does.
Yeah.
You know, and like part of it is like accepting that some of these things are who she is.
Yeah. Some things have to be that way.
Yeah.
Meaning like because exactly what you said, you want them to have a good life. So, you know, some things do have to be a certain way, but like you said, like they're all going to have their own way of doing certain things that you just got to accept.
Yeah.
It might not be how you want it to be.
I know.
Most likely won't be.
I mean, Christ, I think about my parents, like,
yeah,
I went down some weird roads, man, that I'm 100% positive they didn't want me to go down. And like, I just did it, you know what I mean? And like, at some point they had to accept like, okay, well, this is kind of like who he is, you know? And like, we'll help him out if he wants it, but that's it.
Do you find yourself doing that as well? Like kind of imagining how your parents feel in certain situations?
Oh yeah.
Right?
All the time.
Doesn't that suck too?
It sucks really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. Or like, I'll think about the future, right? You know, and this, look, man, I'm just going to say it, like, she's a girl.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, there are things that come into my mind that I'm like, man, I really don't like the thought of that. You know what I mean? And like the first boyfriend experience, you know, like there's just certain things
It's
that
tough.
just make me grit my teeth. I have to sit back and remember, one, I'm not even close to being there yet. Okay. We're nowhere close, but I still don't like it.
Yeah.
But I have to remember sometimes that like I can't live her life for her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at the way my parents kind of handled some of the situations I got into and like how I felt about it. You know, in the moments I was just like, what are you doing? This is my life. Like, get away. You know, and I don't ever want her to feel that way about me. You know, I'm trying to learn this thing of like letting her be who she is while nudging them in the right direction.
There's a fine line.
There is a very fine line. And like, you want to throw them down that direction for sure. But like, I think it's like, it has to be like this gentle nudge, you know, and kind of let them come to that conclusion on their own.
Jordan Peterson, I think he says something like you have to let your kids do dangerous things carefully. I'm pretty sure that's how he says it. Yeah. Which is like an interesting thing to think of.
It is.
You know, because a lot of times he'll be in the playroom and we got this like jungle gym thing. It's all solid wood. It's not the safest. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So literally yesterday, he does this things where he goes from the monkey bars and he swings and he puts his feet on the damn swing. And it's just a sketchy situation. And he finally went backwards.
Yep.
And I'm like, thank God it's all padded and he happened to miss all the wood. But it's like, but he does have to go through that kind of stuff. And it sucks. You don't want to watch your kid get injured.
No.
But it's a necessity. That's how you're going to learn a lesson. You know, just like you had to go through your stuff to make you who you are in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like we discussed this in one of the other podcasts.
Yeah.
The 12 steps, right? That you kind of use that in every aspect of your life, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So if you didn't go through what you went through, not to say that it was a great thing, but...
No, but it definitely set me up with experiences to carry into future situations.
Yeah.
You know, just like this. You know, I mean, look, he falls off the swing and like, okay, well now he knows.
Yeah.
If I do that again, I could potentially get hurt. You know? And like physically, for like a little boy to fall off a little swing is low in the grand scheme of things, right? Like I think a lot of my fears come into play where I think about like the big stuff in life when she starts driving a car, you know, drugs, alcohol, you know, getting her heart broken, crazy boyfriends, you know. I start thinking about like that. Again, we're nowhere near there, okay? I don't have to get all upset about it right now.
You got to go there sometimes.
But my brain goes there, man. It goes there, you know? And I think about my situations and I'm like, well, what if she gets involved in stuff like that, you know? And like, it's terrifying.
The drug thing is scary, right? Because the whole fentanyl like,
look, hopefully by the time our kids are of that age, this whole thing's figured out.
Yeah,
you know what I
agree.
mean? Like, whoever becomes president next, like, needs to do something about this because literally hundreds of people.
But how do you, like, obviously, look, this is just a random question, but do you have an idea of how they could fix it? How the hell could you fix it?
It's tough.
Right?
It's tough. I mean, I think it really boils down to cracking down on China because that's where it's all coming from. You know, China is the one manufacturing it all. Then they use cartels to smuggle it in through the southern border. That's just the way it is, bro. And like, it's not a conspiracy theory. I'm not some like right-wing activist. Like, that's truly what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, and they're putting it in everything now. You know, like my therapist, she's one of the main counselors at a treatment center, right? So she still works there and then she does her private practice on the side. And I was talking to her about this topic and she's like, you know, every single person who comes into treatment tests positive for fentanyl. Everybody.
Really?
Whether they were using cocaine, whether they were just smoking weed, you know, obviously if they're using opiates, like they're literally lacing it into everything. So like I tell people now, if you buy any drugs off the street, you're a madman at this point. Like you're a madman. I don't care what it is. Like if you want to smoke pot and you're in the state of Florida, go get a card, dude.
Yeah.
Go get it from a reputable place where like, you know, it's going to be okay because they're putting it in everything. And, you know, to solve this problem now is going to be way harder than if we would have started putting our foot down years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I think it's going to boil down to like, you know, the foreign relations type deal because they know what they're doing.
I just don't get the logic from a dealer standpoint.
Yeah, why kill your customer?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, because everybody thinks they're a chemist. Everybody thinks, well, I put the right amount in to where I'll enhance what's going on. And it makes my stuff really good. And a lot of them are just too stupid to realize that literally, like, if you put 1 grain more, like the head of a pin, more than you're supposed to, person's dead.
Yeah, I Googled it one time, like the amount it takes to kill someone with fentanyl.
It's disgusting.
It's tiny.
Oh, it's measured in micrograms, which means thousandths of a gram.
That's crazy. and you're playing with that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What, you think you're just gonna put some on a playing card and dip it in with a whole pile and just mix it up and think that you got the formula right?
Yeah,
like,
I never understood the logic. It's a very strange thing to me.
Well, there are some people, and okay, this is tinfoil hat stuff, but there are some people who think that it's being done on purpose, by other foreign countries to kill us from within. And look, not saying it's true, but people do say that.
Yeah, I want to say that doesn't sound too far-fetched to me.
Yeah,
there's been some crazier shit going on, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
No, definitely not.
I do think there's so much weird stuff going on. It just doesn't make a ton of
doesn't
sense.
add up. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just straight up doesn't add.
Very weird.
Yeah.
I saw a fire tornado happen in Canada. a tornado of
flames.
Fire. Like, what the fuck is going on? How weird is that? I didn't even know that was a real thing.
I have no idea.
It's a real.
You got to show me.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you the clip. It's interesting, to say the least. But again, we won't go down that road.
Yeah, definitely not. YouTube will censor us.
Yeah. But the fentanyl thing, it's been going around for how long now, would you say? Like, where it's like a common thing. Well, look, it's only getting worse.
Oh, it's way worse. Like, look, I've been sober almost 7 years now. And right when I started to clean my act up is when I noticed people dropping like flies. You know what I mean? I always say, man, I got crazy, out. Right? I got out at the perfect time. Like, I'd probably dead.
Yeah.
If I had continued from that point. And I think we're probably talking in that like 7 to 8 year range where, like, the government started cracking down on opiates really hard. I don't know if you've watched Painkiller yet on Netflix.
I want to. It's on my list.
So it talks about like the rise of oxycodone, and how it like swept our nation. And, the government finally stepped in and they were like, we're done here. So how do you fill that gap? Well, you fill it with another opiate. And that's what fentanyl is. It's way stronger. You can manufacture so much less of it to get more people. Financially, it makes sense, So I think that's what started to happen. And I think they just didn't realize that, like, they were truly playing with fire. And now we're starting to see it. I mean, the opiate crisis now is absolutely insane.
From a hospital standpoint, right? People going for surgery, such as myself.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should do a better job of cracking down on what they give you there?
Yeah. I mean, here's something not a lot of people know. Have you ever been to a hospital and you see the sign with the happy faces on it? It's like, how's your pain level right now?
Yeah.
It's like a happy face, and the face just gets more upset as you get to 10. Did you know that the producers of OxyContin actually created that?
Interesting.
So they created it as a vital sign. Okay. So like a vital sign being like your blood pressure, your heart rate, your temperature, things that are vital to your existence. They have now added your pain level as that.
Interesting.
Which opens the door to prescribing more opiates. So look, man, you got major reconstructive back surgery. You absolutely needed opiates. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. People who like stub their toe or like sprain their knee don't need opiates.
Yeah.
They just don't. Yeah. And like, we're at a point now where it's like, okay, well, you got a little muscle tear or something, or, something happens. Here, just take some opiates. I had a doctor trying to do it to me. I had sinus surgery last year. Was it painful? Yeah, man. Was it anything I couldn't tolerate? Obviously not, because I'm still here.
Yep.
Like some ibuprofen 800 a couple times a day, and it wasn't so bad, But he immediately pushed the opiates down my throat, even after I told him, hey, man, this is my story.
That's
Please
crazy.
don't prescribe it to me. He's like, well, okay, I'm going to write it for you anyway.
That's crazy.
So, I remember walking up to Publix and I had 2 prescriptions in my hand, one for ibuprofen 800 and one for Percocet. And it was like, well, what do I do?
Yeah, that's up.
What do I do? And like, of course, the little devil in my mind is like, well, you had surgery, bro.
Justification.
You had surgery.
Yeah.
And I immediately walked up and I was like, fill this one, throw this one in the trash, please. I don't want it. Don't give it to me.
Good for you.
You know? And like, it's the over prescribing for things that aren't 100% necessary that starts people down that road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why I bring it up is like,
Yeah.
I have a few friends, man, they go in for shoulder surgery and then end up being hooked on Percocets for a long time. And it sucks. That's sad that you go in with just the intention of fixing an issue.
Just getting better.
Yeah. And getting hooked on it. So when I was in the hospital, I had both nurses. I had nurses that were just like, hey, let's fix the pain, give them this, no hesitation. And then I had nurses that now I'm thankful for it because I know what they were trying to do. In the moment, it sucks, man. When you're fresh out of surgery and they're telling you
You're
got to
legitimately
wait
in pain.
another 4 hours before you could get something,
Yeah.
that sucks,
Yeah.
you know? But I'm glad they did it. I am glad they did it. I think it was a huge part of why it was so easy for me to just kick it when I
Well, not to mention too, man, like you're supposed to feel pain.
yeah, that's how
You
you
are supposed to feel pain.
It makes sense because then look, if you're completely numb, right?
Yeah.
If you're completely numb, you're going to make some movements that could potentially mess you up worse, right?
Not to mention like your brain gets used to being numb.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, that's a problem. That's a real problem. Like you're supposed to feel pain.
Yeah.
Your body needs those signals in order to heal areas. You know what I mean? Like
Knows where to send the blood
exactly,
flow.
man.
Stuff like
It's
that.
part of your healing process is to feel pain.
Yeah.
Now look, if it's at the point where like, you know, you're going to pass out because you're in so much pain, then yeah, man, pain medication is there to blunt it a bit. And the truth is, if you're truly in pain, pain medication doesn't get you high. It won't do it because it's actually doing its job. If you're getting high
It's a
from
problem.
pain medication,
It's a problem.
you're not in pain.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think a lot of people do kind of look at it in that light where they're like, I don't feel it because they don't feel high.
Exactly.
Meanwhile,
it took away the pain.
Yeah.
It's doing its job.
You're not focusing on the pain anymore.
Correct.
It's like, hey, I don't feel like I'm floating.
Yeah, correct.
It's tough. It is tough. Every time I take it, I'm like, I get it. I understand how people could get hooked on it, but
course.
like knowing the repercussions, it's
It's
scary.
it gives you a little slice of heaven
Yeah.
for a moment, you know? And then the problem is you start searching for that little slice of heaven all the time. Mm-hmm. And then the real problem comes when it stops giving you that little
The
slice
tolerance
of heaven.
builds.
And you still look for it anyway. You know, I mean, I got to a point where I was taking tons of them and still getting nothing. But then I couldn't stop because my body was physically addicted to it.
You're chasing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chasing a
I was just doing it to like not be sick. And then once you're in that cycle, you're screwed, man.
Yeah, I hear about that, like the withdrawals and stuff like that.
You're screwed once you're
horrible,
there.
huh?
Yeah, you're screwed. Like, I was talking with Laura about this the other day. Like, there was literally a point where like I'd wake up in the morning, and if I didn't have something by like noon, instantly start to get sick.
Damn.
And like, that's a crappy way to live. It's a really crappy way to live.
And I'm assuming it affects your mood and everything,
it affects
right?
everything.
Super
Everything.
irritable.
You can't go to the bathroom. You can't eat. You know, your mind is so one track focused on, okay, I got to get what I need in order to feel okay. And then the rest of the time is worrying about making sure tomorrow you can get what you need to feel okay. It just consumes your whole life.
It's crazy.
You know, and like back to like what we were talking about, like, you know, I obviously wouldn't want anything like that for her, you know, and it scares me because it's clearly in my genes. You know, if you look at my family, we got a few. I ain't the only one, you know, and like, hopefully it skips a generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could nudge her in the right direction, but I agree with you. Like if you try to be overbearing and
Then they'll fight the other way.
they rebel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, my dad was a police officer, man. He warned me about all that stuff years ago. And like, didn't really make any impact on me. You know, I kind of had to like experience it for myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, some stuff I feel like you have to go through it.
Yeah.
You have to go through it. And it sucks to say that you're going to allow your kid to kind of
Feel pain.
Yeah. Not that you go with the intention of them getting hurt, but it's like an unfortunate necessity.
It is.
In a lot of ways, I'd say.
It is. We all have to. We all have to go through it. But like, you know, you see your kid as like this precious little thing and like you want to do everything you can to protect them, but like you can't protect them from everything, clearly. I mean, I can't protect her from what happened. You know, she lost her mom. If trust me, if someone would have given me the choice, I would have chose to not have that happen, you know, but it did. And like, you know, I have to I have to teach her how to cope. You know,
adapt.
It's my job now. Yeah, to like teach her how to live this life.
And you're learning too.
Oh, for sure.
You're teaching yourself while teaching her.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm basically learning a lesson and then instantly passing it on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, trust me, it's still every day that she asks about her and all that. You know, it gets a little discouraging sometimes because I'm like, well, does she really understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to think that she does,
Yeah.
but I don't know if she truly does.
I would say probably to an extent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say certain aspects of it probably.
Mm-hmm.
But again, she's so young.
Yeah.
So it's tough to know for sure. Unfortunately, you're probably going to have a while before that stops.
Yeah.
You know,
if ever. I mean,
yeah. And not to say that you want it to stop, but at the same time, it's like, I'm sure you don't want to hear that every day. Because that's tough for you too.
No, it is, man. It is. And it's because it's tough on me. It's really more about her.
You want her to understand so badly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've come to terms with the situation. You know, I'm an adult, you know, but like she's not.
Yeah.
And like I'm trying to like make her be okay with it, and like I just don't truly know if she is.
Yeah.
You know, and like I just want her to be okay.
Yeah.
You know,
she'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the unfortunate part of it is that's all you can really tell yourself.
Yeah.
Is she will be okay. You don't know when or if she is getting there now. You have no clue.
Yeah.
So that's probably the hardest part of it is the unknown aspect of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Again, another expectation, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I was just going to say that.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
I guess you could think about it in that way, and a lot more things than you typically do. Mm-hmm. Never thought about it that way.
No, me either. That's why we have this podcast. Yeah. You know, like I don't know, we talk about this stuff, and like I'm glad it helps other people, but it helps me.
Yeah.
You know,
it's an outlet.
it absolutely helps me.
Yeah. People talk to me about it like, oh, if it gets big, this and that. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah.
And people are probably gonna be like, oh, that's bullshit, trying to make money off of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
For me, it's an outlet.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it.
Yeah. I like it too. This is like a lot of fun.
Right. So so if it helps like 2 people, cool.
Sick.
But look, I guess I don't know how long we've been talking.
Yeah,
for.
we're about time to wrap it up.
I would say that the main point of everything is don't expect people to be how
you are.
You are.
Yeah.
It's most likely not going to be a thing.
Yeah, and that it's okay to trip and fall. It's okay to be disappointed. You know, it's okay to let people be who they are. You know, there's a lot of things that falls into this topic, and I think what it really boils down to is just acceptance within yourself, accepting people, places, and situations for exactly what they are.
Yeah, and even for the failure aspect of it, right? Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I think you just need to keep it moving. You know, like it is what it is. It's most likely out of your control. It's not fixable.
Yeah. Control
if it is fixable, fix it.
Yeah, control what is in your control.
Exactly.
And then what isn't, accept that that's the way it is.
Yeah. Don't be defeated and just find something else to do, I guess, you know, on the failure side of things. Yep. As usual, if you like this, please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram. We're also on TikTok. What's the TikTok handle?
I think it's just Dadtrepreneur Podcast. I have been bad about keeping up with the TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Wait on TikTok.
Yeah. We're getting there on TikTok.
Yeah. So Instagram and YouTube for sure. And just comment, you know, give us feedback, what to talk about, what you liked, what you didn't like.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to tell us what you didn't like.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And leave comments, you know, that helps us in the algorithm. So sharing, commenting, liking, all helps the algorithm gods. So if you want to get out there, if you want people to hear more about this, you got to interact on YouTube.
All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you next time. We out.
Peace out. Bye.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Dadtrepreneur. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for future episodes. Stay connected with us on Instagram @Dadtrepreneur Podcast. See you next time.